Hi crafters, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky Paper Crafts here today with another tutorial. We are going to be making a pinwheel card. If you're in Canada, shop with me, andreaestenson.stampinup.net, and don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Prairie Sky Paper Crafts. Let's get started with the assembly. I've got two pieces of 2 1/8 by 2 1/8 cut out from Just Jade. I've got a piece of Misty Moonlight cut at 4 inches by 4 inches. And my card base, I'm using Bumblebee at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You also are going to need 8 pieces of designer series paper. I'm using Flowers for Every Season. You can change it up and use different paper for each square. It's a great stash buster. I'm just using one sheet. So side A, side B. Let's get started. Okay, so, and I'm also going to be using Ornate Thanks for the sentiment. I've chosen to use the You're Amazing sentiment right here. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is take your 2 1/8 by 2 1/8 piece. Now, if you want to make sure that it's perfectly square and you're using grid paper, you can line it up so that the points are on each line, and then you're just going to place it so that your diamond shape and your square shape are fairly equal all the way around. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a bit of a tape run. Move these guys out of the way for a second. Okay. Now, this looks like it's a complicated thing to put together, but it's actually quite easy. Okay, so I'm just going to run this, make sure that it's about equal all the way around. Now, it doesn't really matter if you have tape poking through because your designer series paper is going to cover it. Okay, now the only part that you really need to pay attention to is the first and the last square. So once you've decided on how you want to place your paper, I'm going to start with this one. And then you're just going to work around. For the first square, you don't want to push it down all the way because you're going to need to do something with it at the end. Okay, so I've got to that one. Now I'm going to put down my coordinating color. And then you're just going to work this way all the way around, alternating one to the next. And it doesn't really matter if they don't meet 100% in the center because we're going to cover it up when we get there. And you can do this really any size as long as your little square pieces and your large piece are about 1/4 inch larger. So if you've got a 2 or a 1 inch piece, I did it 2 1/8 because it ends up being about 1/4 inch bigger by the time you're done all of the sides. And you can look for inspiration for this card on Pinterest or anywhere really on the internet. I discovered this one a few years ago. I absolutely love it. This was actually one of the first complicated cards that I made. But once I actually did it, I realized that it wasn't as complicated as I thought it was. Okay, so oops, wrong one. Okay, do the blue one. Okay, now for this last piece, what you're going to have to do, because we have it alternating all the way around, you're going to need to place this so that it goes over top of this one and underneath this one. So all you're going to have to do is gently pry up the corner. And because you didn't press it down too hard, it should be fairly easy. And then you're going to take your 1 inch piece here and tuck it so that it goes in behind this one. Okay, I'll move my finger a little bit more out of the way. So you've got it laid over top of the one beside it and tucked under the first one that you laid down. And then you're just going to press it down. So there's our pinwheel shape. And as you can see, it's not 100% lined up in the center, but we're going to fix that. Okay, so I'm going to just bring in my 4x4 piece and my card base. I'm going to flip this over, apply my adhesive to the back. Oops. And then I'm just going to center it. I liked it a little bit larger. I'm just trying to decide if I want to add something. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to leave it like it is right now. I liked it a little bit larger so that it was kind of the focal piece on the background. And of course, you can make your square whatever size you would like. I'm just going to attach this onto the back, and then we're going to go ahead and hide up that center part. Bring this in, line it up. Okay, now to hide the center, I'm going to be using my basic rhinestones, and I'm just going to pry one off and just plop it in the center to cover it up. You can use a brad, you can use a small circle of cardstock, whatever suits your mood to hide the center is perfectly fine. And I'm just going to add a little bit of bling to each of the corners. Oops. Usually I use my take your pick tool for this, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way today. All right, so there's our card done. Now I'm just going to bring in my stamp block. And as I said, I'm using Ornate Thanks. I'm just going to be using You're Amazing. And I love the font. It's just so crisp and clean. Amazing, there we go. Put this on here. And I'll bring in my Memento Black. I don't know, there's just something about black for the sentiment that just, I don't know, for me it kind of just grounds the entire card. And I'm just going to put this off to the side, down at the corner. There you go. There's your card, done. If you do make this design, please comment on my Facebook page and show me what you created. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you're notified every single time a new video goes live. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.